think we're solid now, guys. How we doing? Guys, ready for today? Guys, we had a banger play out last night. I don't know if you guys were here, but caught a really nice UK 100 trade. I did tell you guys I was going to set limits, and I did just that. Thank you, Greg. Greg's a G. Let's throw up the screen share. Let's turn this face cam on. Boom. There we go. It's a little dark. It's fine. We'll deal with it. Actually, I can turn this up maybe. Oh, wrong one. Doom. Okay, we'll do with that. All right. How you guys been though? How's the week been? Uh-oh. I lost general chat. That's fucked. There it is. Good morning, George. George, that UK 100 trade played out, guys. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I did end up calling this last night. I did not enter on stream, but I did tell you guys I was going to enter and set limits on this trade. I typically don't enter at equilibrium like this, but it just looked way too good. I did this the night before. Ultimately, what's up, Blue Dream? But this was just a beautiful setup, guys. And the analysis behind it was, again, we are ultimately bullish. Okay, we saw that price did end up making a new high here. And then what do we see shortly after that? We saw price ended up facilitating a pullback deep within here. And we could ultimately expect that since price started to then continue back higher, we are probably going to come and take this high and create a new high, right? So when we came down to lower time frames, we just had London, at least the start of it for the first hour, expand pretty deep within premium price. I told you guys I was going to set limits because if price did come back down, I was most likely going to enter. And it did end up entering me in right before my trading time close. And it just absolutely ripped. It played out the analysis, caught a nice little 1 to 2. Beautiful. We've been killing it when it comes to UK 100 and DAX. You guys also know last night, question, if you have gold still running, can I still place another trade in NQ at the same time? Yeah, of course, crew. Of course you can. But going back to this, again, we continue to see price run. It made that new high. It played out with that overall analysis. And it was just a simple understanding of seeing price come into an equilibrium or discounted price and expecting price to continue within its overall bullish trend. And that's exactly what it did, right? At least from an hourly standpoint. And we kind of just caught it on the 5 minute. But beautiful trade there. We've been, like I said, we've been killing it on UK 100 and DAX. Again, I do trade on my live broker when it comes to UK 100 and DAX because it isn't on Legacy. But if you guys do want to trade alongside me, you can always DM me on Instagram or on Discord, and I'll send you over my broker if you guys do want to start cashing these trades with me, because we've been killing it this month. I mean, I think we've caught how many wins this month so far? At least 5, at least. But as far as NQ, we're not doing bad. We're still up for the month. But you guys know last night we had a situation, I believe it was last night, where we were waiting for a pullback here. I believe it was right here. And price barely missed our point of entry. We barely missed the equilibrium. If we would have hit the equilibrium, I definitely would have been able to enter at a break of this low. And we saw price go in the direction we expected it to go. We were expecting sells. Sells did happen. But again, I have to follow my rules in the sense of waiting for that rejection. But again, it's fine. We're still here today to see what happens today. But let's go over today's bias. So as far as DAX, we saw DAX pump last night. Was it last night? Yeah. So what can I expect today? So we can see that price did end up making a new bullish leg. We see this new bullish leg that was made, broke this high here. Ultimately, I expect price to go higher into these highs here. And the reason I expect that is because if we look at a 4-hour standpoint, we see the 4-hour 2 was bullish. We had a pullback, and we're continuing to expand after that pullback. And that's where we now see that hourly internal structure breaking that high, giving us the idea that price will most likely continue higher. But of course, just because we are bullish doesn't necessarily mean we're going to continue bullish into these highs. Yes, that definitely can happen. But again, just like the 4-hour, we're most likely going to see these pullbacks before we see that continuation. So ultimately, I'm expecting price to have some type of pullback today. The one thing with this and me not entering is we are still bullish even within the lower time frames. And that's where I'm a little bit skeptical with selling here. Just based on how price looks, I would have to sell or at least wait for this low to be broken because we are still bullish within this leg. And the reason I'm playing this leg down here is because From this expansion to this high, we never facilitated that pullback. We just missed it, meaning we would have to expand our range to here. So for me to really feel confident in these sells, I would want to see price break these lows. But at that point, we're pretty much missing out on sells. But again, it's not necessarily worth it, because at the end of the day, if we took early sells up here, we could see price come down within here, react and go higher within this internal bullish structure. And that's just something I don't want to deal with. Yes, like I said, we can go deeper, but ultimately I'd rather wait for quality. Just like yesterday, we had a very quality setup, and I'd rather wait for there. As far as UK 100, same bias. As far as we see price making a new high here, we can delete this for a second. Same bias as far as we saw price make a new high on the hourly. Even on the 4 hour, we see that price did make a new high. So I am kind of expecting sells here. Granted, just like DAX, we don't necessarily have to sell off now. Can sell off tomorrow, can sell off the end of the week. Ultimately though, I'm probably going to wait for sells. Yes, buys can definitely still play out within here. Maybe I missed something on the 5 minute where we can potentially catch buys. But ultimately, I think sells are definitely a little bit more probable here. Yes, just like DAX, we can get stuck within this leg here, but I'd rather play this than DAX. I think it's a little bit higher of a probability, especially being that the 4 hours is definitely starting to give me the signs, or give us signs that we are starting to kind of slow down. We're seeing a lot of top wicks. We're seeing a lot of hesitation. That price is just no longer looking to go higher, and definitely London can open bullish and we can just absolutely rip and it just goes higher. Okay. But again, like, I'd rather just wait for some type of sell confirmation. And what I could say is, if we broke these lows down here, I do think I could see us selling then here. And the reason I'm not scared about this leg here is because if we look within this internal bullish leg, we saw price expand, we saw it pull back into equilibrium, and we saw it continue to expand. So this is the new leg we're playing within here, meaning this is now an old leg and we are now playing within this leg. But as you can see, price is now starting to hesitate, slow down. If we get a break of those lows, honestly, can say we could sell here. This isn't that high of a probability of a trade, just because, again, like, we are overall still bullish. But ultimately, like I said, and you guys should already know, we are at a point where the probabilities are still high enough that we could see a pullback down deeper into this new hourly leg, and we could see the pullback of this new hourly leg here. Okay, so I do think we could see that. And if we do start seeing a nice little bearish push, I could shoot. What we could wait for is a potential break and retest, just to confirm that price is now looking to go lower and we can catch that overall bearish move, rather than kind of playing within this bullish structure. I think I'm away for that, just because we've had a great week so far, especially with that win yesterday, where, again, like, there's no reason to rush anything today. And ultimately, I'd rather wait for that confirmation of that new low being made, that pullback, and then that continuation, just like yesterday, where, again, we saw price break. We didn't enter on that first break. We waited for that pullback, and then we entered as price did continue up with that bullish trend. So I think I may end up waiting for that, just because we're not sitting at a good area. It's a decent area, but ultimately it'd be better if price had, started to shift a little bit more bearish, and we saw, let's say, already some new lows being formed, and then we could just continue with that overall bearish internal trend. That's not the case though, but we'll see if that does end up happening. Ultimately, if we don't catch a trade and let's say price just absolutely fucking dumps from here, I'm probably not going to enter, but that's fine, because ultimately it's just going to be data. It's just going to tell me that even though we were still bullish internally, we could have potentially shot on this trade, just due to the fact that we understood price had a lot of room to facilitate that higher time frame pullback. But again, it's not always going to be the case. That's not always going to happen. I'd rather wait for that confirmation. But let's go over to NQ. Let's see what's happening here. Again, we missed that trade last night. Didn't necessarily miss it, but it was a trade that we could have caught, but we had to follow our rules. Super simple. As far as DAX, what I'm expecting, to be honest, well, one, I was expecting sells, and that's just based off the fact that we did start seeing some hesitation within here. We know that we see some fair value gap sitting down here. That price can come down to ultimately fill, or at least reject off of. And we're not looking for that big of a move. Again, we're going for 1 to 2, super simple, set TP, set stop loss. But we'll see how price reacts. If price does end up making a new high here at the open, then okay, we'll end up playing those buys back up higher, because ultimately, from the looks of how price was reacting earlier, we're bullish. You see some nice bullish candles. We can expect price to push higher, but the only reason I was expecting potential sells was just due to the hesitation here and due to the fact that at first this candle was bearish and was not bullish, but we'll see. Okay, we got a little bit of time, about 5 minutes before open, and that's ultimately going to tell us a lot, right? I would want to wait for price to either, again, continue lower, and maybe we can go down to the 1 minute where we do end up taking our setups and see if we can catch something within here. Okay. And what I mean by that, I mean we can look for some type of structural low to be broken. Granted, this has not been broken yet. It was just kind of swept. I like to see a full body closure. So if we can kind of come down, break this low at open, we can look for a quick little pullback of this 1 minute leg here. We could do that because, again, once again, the 5 minutes already bearish in the sense that we did take some liquidity of these highs. We sold off, made a new bearish leg, had a pullback, never broke these highs. And if we could continue with that 1 minute bearish trend, we can ultimately assume that price will continue down into that fair value gap that I did point out to begin with, which is just an area of imbalance within the market. And we can expect price to just be attracted into that area. So we'll see. At this point, it is just a waiting game, to be honest. Let me get everything set up here. Again, like we are trading, at least on NQ, set TP, set stop, just a simple 1 to 2, and we're just playing reactions, guys. That's what we're doing here. We play reactions and we use the volume within London session to hopefully just get that quick little move for a quick 20-point TP. But again, if price does break here, we'll wait for either a pullback and a continuation. But the thing is, since we are looking at the 5 minute right now, if we do see a break here, we may see on the 1 minute, we could see price start to shift internally bearish. And that's where we go to shoot for that quick little pullback of that new 5 minute bullish leg. That's what we did yesterday. Again, if you guys want an example, we can go back to yesterday where we see price again during London was ultimately bullish. Okay, we can expect, being that we were bullish and overextended, we had a lot of fair value gaps to fill, we could expect price to sell off and facilitate a pullback. That's exactly what we did. Yes, we didn't necessarily continue back higher, but ultimately we knew that price had to facilitate that pullback, and that's exactly what it did. And if we go back using replay, what do we see within the 1 minute time frame? Again, we started to see the 1 minute shift structure where we were previously bullish, broke a structural low, had a pullback within that 1 minute time frame where we could have entered, and then continuation back down. But again, just couldn't enter based off my rules. But again, that was still very good when it comes to data, so can't complain there. But again, we'll see. I think we'll definitely get a trade for New York, or I mean NQ. Sorry, not New York. Spoiler. I'm reading your thing, Henry. No way. Did they ban you? Damn. Damn, Henry. I wonder how many other traders they've sent that to. Just because they're just getting rinsed. That sucks. I can't lie. That absolutely sucks. Let's go into here. All right. About to see London open. About 30 seconds, guys. Again, when it comes to UK 100 and DAX, I'm not looking for anything as of right now. I do see this internal bearish structure here, but again, like I don't want to just impulsively sell from here because we could still react in a bear or bullish manner just based off this bullish leg here. And it's just ultimately, it's just not worth taking it right now. Yes, we could take buys here, but again, the reason I don't want to take buys is just because of the fact that we just broke structure. And yes, price can definitely 100% continue higher here, but ultimately I'd rather wait for price to kind of exhaust itself and we can play that pullback, if not later tonight, tomorrow, and then we can obviously expect price to continue from that point on. So Not taking anything here. Seeing some higher prices here. Turn this off. See if this barely missed it. All right. Looks like now this is going to expand, which is totally fine, guys. That tells us that we are still most likely going to continue bullish, which is fine. Like, again, from a higher time frame standpoint, I do expect buys. And I told you guys that yesterday. I expected buys yesterday, and that's pretty much what we did. We did end up coming back up higher throughout the rest of the day, into the morning, into New York. And the reason I could expect buys is because if we're looking at this bearish leg here, we have not completed or facilitated a pullback. You were expecting it way earlier. You rinse them, huh? I hope NQ trade. Hopefully, Alvin. But again, like, I can't expect price to come deeper within here, not just to facilitate the pullback within EQ, but because we have a lot of imbalance sitting up higher that we can expect price to ultimately be attracted to rebalance. So honestly, I'm not surprised with buys here. If we do see a close above these highs, that is nice. We can then either play that pullback back down or ultimately wait for price to pull back down and we look for an entry back up. But we'll see. UK 100 and DAX are ripping. Again, you could have taken DAX buys. The one thing I don't like about these buys is, like, based off this leg here, we never created or facilitated a deep pullback. We just missed that area. And that to me would invalidate me, at least, playing this new leg here. But if that is your system and you do like to play that new leg, then by all means, shoot. UK 100 on the other hand. Let's see what happened here. Same thing, just missed that pullback. So again, we'll wait on today for that and we'll see what happens here. I really want to see the 5-minute break this high, guys. Like, not just wick it. I want to see an actual close bid above this high. If we just kind of wick it, then at that point we would have to either wait for a price to come back up and actually break it before I can consider it a new high. Henry, do you only trade gold? You trade gold and NQ, huh? Guys, I'm so tired right now. I didn't have my before stream nap. Only NQ right now, fire. Gold is ass, I agree. I agree. Not a fan of gold. See you tomorrow, in and out. DAX buys fire, Chew. I'm glad you got those. DAX did absolutely fucking rip, guys. If you guys did get in buys, you definitely are up. And again, we ultimately can't expect price to go higher here, right? We are bullish. We are seeing very good bullish expansion. But my only thing against that is just the way I trade is, again, like, just like, I could have taken buys here if price would have been cleaner within this lower time frame structure. But the fact of the matter is, again, like, we just did not see the pullback I would have wanted to here. Meaning, since we didn't see that pullback into equilibrium, to me, this expands our range. And yes, again, like we can see, buys did end up continuing to play out. But at some point, I do think we will see lower prices. But again, that may not happen until tomorrow. NQ does move beautiful right now. See what's happening here. All right, we are seeing higher prices. Good. But going back to DAX again, guys, if we would have seen price facilitate that pullback here, expand higher, and we would have seen that next pullback here, we could have taken a break of these highs, because at that point we know that price is still trending bullish. And yes, it is still technically trending bullish. Like, we can still see that clear as day. It's still making higher highs, higher lows, pretty obvious. Okay, but at the end of the day, I do need to see that full pullback into equilibrium to give me the idea that price has completed its pullback and this now is a new leg. But to me, this is the entire leg that we're playing within, because we just expand that range. And now, since price is making even higher highs, we would just continue to expand that range. And we would still need to see that pullback down into the EQ before I look for a potential buying opportunity. But not every day is going to be picture perfect. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to enter, guys. We've already had a great month there. Let's try to eat here. We did see a close above that high, so that does tell us that we did just create a new high. So we are now playing within this bullish 5-minute structure. If we see a pullback down deeper, since it's the 5-minute, I'll probably wait for a 1-minute internal bullish structure to be made, and then look for that continuation back higher, just to kind of give me the idea that price is definitely bullish. We've completed the pullback. We've seen the 1-minute starting to shift structure. But since price is now up within this area, if we continue to see price, let's say, create these microstructural lows, start continuing higher, we can play that pullback down into discounted price. We definitely can. We'll see how price reacts. Oh my god, I'm tired. NQ has no on our bottom on CME charts. You're right. I see it here. Very micro though. Very insignificant. But again, like, even if, like, let's say there was no bottom wick, like based off the charts we're looking at. I know I'm looking at Pepperstone here. This is CME here. What I would like to play is, again, like, just this pullback on trade of 8. Oh shit. Okay, good to know. Well, going back to what Henry said, again, even if there was no bottom wick based off what we're seeing, like, let's just imagine there's not. Okay, if price does continue to make this like internal, like, or this fractal bullish structure, again, like, I'd honestly prefer to play this pullback, one being that the hourly has no bottom wick, so that tells us that price will most likely come back to create that bottom wick, and two, if we start to see the 1-minute start to shift bearish within that internal structure, we can ultimately assume that price, one, is going to facilitate that pullback into a discounted price of that new 5-minute leg, and look to make that bottom wick of that hourly candle. So we'll see what happens. Oh my god, so tired. We have no news, guys. I checked earlier, so we're chilling there. I want to see price make a new fractal high here. But again, guys, if you guys are not even trading on Legacy yet and you guys do want to trade with me, you can go get an account, one. Two, you can use my code Nick for a 15% discount on any size account. So you can actually start trading with me, because again, like, we've been doing fairly well with NQ. And again, for UK 100 and DAX, I don't trade that on Legacy. I trade that on my live account. It just depends, Jay. Like, you can start with 1,000, but at that point, like, if you start with like $1,000, you're most likely going to end up playing a game of account flip where you are risking pretty heavy when it comes to percentages, and that ultimately could hurt you, but you can definitely make a lot faster. And the only reason I say that with 1,000 is because it's so insignificant to trade that with appropriate risk, where you're going to be taking that account, if with appropriate risk, is going to move very slow. It's going to be a long process, depending on how many wins you're catching, whatever I could say. But if you have 10K to put into a live account, I'd say that's definitely a good area to start. You can still risk appropriately. You can risk 3 to 5%, and still make decent returns, right? But ultimately, like, when it comes, like, if you guys really are looking to have these couple $100 days, $1,000 days, that's where the funded accounts do exist, because of the fact that, again, like, unless you have a 50K account, 30K account, you're not really going to be seeing or hitting those goals unless you're risking a lot of your account. But again, when it comes to risking, if you're risking a higher percentage of your account, ultimately you can lose that higher percentage. So, but if you're ultimately profitable, your strike rate is good, again, you can definitely throw 1,000 into account and risk 5 to 10% if you're confident with that. But again, if you do take a couple losses, that's where it will hurt you. But again, if you guys need a broker, the same broker I trade on when it comes to UK 100 and DAX, you can always DM me and I'll set you up. We're not in a trade yet, no, but I think we're going to see one soon. We're now seeing price breaking this low here, which I like. I just hope price closes beneath that. And if we do see that, I could end up playing the pullback down into a discounted price of this bullish leg. I'm willing to play that. Kind of the same setup as yesterday. Let's just hope that we actually are able to get entry. Did we break that low? We did. All right, so we broke that low. We barely broke it, but at the end of the day, we still broke it. This is our bearish leg that I'm playing within. Just make sure I'm set there. I don't think we broke it on here. That's so fucked if we didn't. We did not break it here. I don't like that. I need to see a break on here, guys. Yes, we came beneath that low, but I am not going to take this until price breaks a low there, which sucks because let's say price does play out here. I'm going to play off of this data here. A little bit more accurate. But I do think we will see lower prices. It's always the little things that are throwing us off. Granted, we didn't get a full pullback, not yet, but I really do want to see price give us another break here. NQ and DAX look the same, yeah. Bullish expansion, pullback. We're definitely seeing that pullback on DAX. I'm impressed that price didn't break here. What's weird though is we opened way fucking lower. It's almost like we did break. That's only better for me, Henry, especially expecting sells. I could expect price to come lower. Windex coming to legacy. Not sure. It has been in the talks, but not a lot of people trade it. I'm basically like the only one who trades it. Yo, what's up, Kayleen? But again, that's where even if it's not on legacy, guys, like that's where, again, like you can take advantage and start putting money into a live account, start building it slowly, like the talks that I had with Jay earlier. You don't necessarily need a lot to start it, to start a live account. Again, thankfully we didn't enter, guys. Plus we didn't even get entry within here, so it wouldn't even matter. Again, like what I wait for entry, I keep going back and forth. Sorry, I think I have ADHD or something like that. But going back to what I was saying is, even if DAX isn't on legacy, again, like that's where you can definitely start building your live account. Even if you start with something small, that's fine. You can definitely, I've never been big on flipping accounts, but you can definitely start with a decent risk, start building up your account slowly, still trading with funded accounts, and look to ultimately keep funneling money into your live account and slowly building that up. And the more money you add into it, the more risk that you can put on your trades. Let's go L. I still haven't had entry yet. Okay, but going back to this, guys. So when it comes to entry, guys, I wouldn't even been able to enter on here, even if price did break the low here on legacy, which that's what I really wanted to see, was an actual close beneath this low. Being that we did not see that, one, was not looking to enter, and two, what I really wait for is a reaction candle. So being that price just came up and flew through equilibrium, not giving us any type of solid rejection off equilibrium or the 71% level, I'm not going to play that. I play the reaction, because again, with that reaction, it tells me that we are, one, coming into a premium or discounted price, but two, holding at these specific levels or holding at these specific points where if price does give us a solid rejection, we can ultimately expect a reaction that will continue to play out within our overall structure, or within our general structure, which would have been, bearish. But we did not see that. So we could just see price fly. Again, like I said, I expect bullish structure overall. We were just looking for that quick pullback, but it looks like we're not going to get it yet. We're still playing within this five-minute structure. But what I'd like to see is, again, if maybe another potential selling opportunity. The thing is, we'd have to see some more fractal structure being made within here to take these sells back down. Because, one, I'm not going to just sell where it's at. We have no structure. But it can definitely just absolutely dip down here. And if it does, this first area we were expecting that break of structure is now where equilibrium sits. Because, again, with price now expanding higher, it just expands our range. We never got the pullback, so it expands our range. So this is now the full range we're playing within. And we're going to have to wait either for price to pull back into equilibrium and then wait for some type of bullish shift back to the upside. And we'll see. UK 100's pumping. I wish I would have been able to catch these buys, guys. I really do. But nothing gave me confirmation. It's always the little things. And that shit's been happening. Where yes, price is not guaranteed to come back into equilibrium. But ultimately, one, that's my system. That's my plan, is to see that and use that as confirmation that price has completed its pullback and has created a new bullish leg after that pullback. But again, it's not always guaranteed. We're still seeing price trend bullish, clear as day. You guys can see that. And again, this is ultimately going to be data, but I'm not going to use this data to switch up my system and be like, hey, since price didn't hit equilibrium, tomorrow, if it doesn't do that again, I'm going to enter. No, that's not the case. But if this happens long term and we continuously see these situations where prices are clearly trending bullish, but we're not seeing those full pullbacks, then we could potentially look to still try to catch these trades if it's not just like a breakout of some type of support resistance level. Because again, even if we would have just taken a break of this resistance level, it would have been a solid trade. But that's just not my way of trading. But two, ultimately, if there's something that needs to be changed within my system, it's going to be changed. But again, like one thing that I always used to get confused on early on, and I still see a lot of people get confused on, is when I talk about change, when I talk about getting data, they think that means, well, one, it should tell you that you need data. But when they get data, like friends of mine or people within my community, they think that based off every single trade, every piece of data they get, that they need to go and make some type of change within their own trading. That is not the case whatsoever. Because again, there's one thing can happen one day, and it's just that day, truly. And you go and you make a impulsive change within your system, and you're now fucking up your own win rate. You're fucking up your system based off something that happened once or twice within the market. You need data that for 6 months, if not a year, that backs up something that's changing or something that's different within the market that you can see is happening repeatedly. And then based off that, then you make a change if it goes to show that it's appropriate. Again, like I waited an entire year, all of last year, to make any type of change to my system. And the only change I made was my management plan. It had nothing to do with how I enter or how I look at the markets. The only change that I made was how I'm managing trades, in the sense of, instead of just taking out at 101, which I used to be a 101 trader, simple, systematic, simple 101, and we still did fairly well last year. But there was a lot of situations where, again, like going back to this trade from last night, where let's say we did take out at 101. 101 would have been out like right here, where we entered. It would have been like right here, right? There was so many situations that I saw based off my data where price did just continue to push higher, where I changed my management plan to allow myself to go for these 1 to 2s, but still make sure that I'm protected, in the sense that once we hit 101, I'm taking half of my position off, moving to break even, to ensure that I'm paying myself and ensuring that I'm now risk free when it comes to continuing holding that trade. Jay, a lot of it was self-taught. I did have, I did buy one course, I would say that, early on. And that did give me the idea of, that did help me a lot when it came to understanding price action. But like when it came to understanding what discount and premium pricing was, that really just came through trial and error. Some YouTube videos too early on. I can say that free education when it comes to YouTube can be very, very helpful in some cases. But you guys got to be careful, because there's so much information out there that it can ultimately hurt you at the end. It really can. Being that, there's stuff about fair value gaps, stuff about this, stuff about that. The main things that you guys need to learn is, one, price action, how price actually moves, just the understanding that price moves in waves. You'll see higher highs, higher lows, so on, okay? And then the understanding of premium and discount, which, aligns with the understanding of how price moves in waves. It'll go higher into a premium price. It'll pull back into a discounted price before continuing back into a premium price. Okay. Just that basic understanding, and ultimately liquidity. Official Heffa, no trade yet. No, not yet. We're waiting for NQ, but it did just end up ripping higher. How long have I been profitable? I think over 2 years now. Over 2 years. So basically ICT. Fuck no. Here's what you guys got to understand. Like, you can say it's technically ICT in the sense of, like liquidity, understanding premium and discount. But one thing you guys got to understand too is ICT just took a bunch of concepts that were already, it was just already within the market. It's already how a lot of people traded, and just basically gave it a different fucking name. Right? Fair value gaps, I call it imbalance. Okay. Ultimately, he had his different ways of entering, in the sense of entering with IFEGs or off of fair value gaps and stuff like that. But the concepts of, targeting liquidity and stuff like that, they were already there. He just branded it or made it more well known just based off the fact that he got big in the content creation world. Truly. But I'd never learned from ICT. Yeah, I see how the strategy online it fucks with you if you don't keep it up, keep it to one plan. Yeah, again, like go and get information from different strategies. Baldy, I'm about to ban you. No, his model was taken. Not just kidding. But again, like it definitely co-aligns with ICT too, because it's just the general concepts and the general idea of what trading is. You target points of liquidity because again, like you got to understand that that's how price moves, right? It goes and targets these areas of liquidity. And not only that, you got to understand that price moves again in waves. It will come into a discounted price. You got to think about it this way. Institutions and banks are going to push prices higher. A higher price means when they sell it off, they're going to get a higher margin. They're going to get a higher price for it, being that it's at a high price. They sell it off into a discounted price so they can continue to buy it back up at a discounted rate. Super simple. And the same thing back down. They'll sell price off into a discounted price to buy it back up into a premium price where they can continue to sell it off back into a discounted price. Just a simple back and forth game. What's up, O? My bad, Beatty. How do you say Beatty? Body? Beatty? What about DAX? DAX is just flying. I don't think I'm gonna take any trades here. Yes, you can take this expansion back higher, but the one reason I don't like this and the one reason I didn't enter to begin with is because looking back over here within this structure, we had a bullish expansion. Price did have some type of pullback, but it never pulled back down fully into discounted price. Never hit equilibrium. It just continued to expand off of that, off of that previous expansion. Meaning, to me, this just expands our range higher, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that we have that pullback. Yes, price is trending in that, obviously in that direction, but being that we didn't have that pullback, yes, we can continue higher based off this new bullish leg, right? But to me, I think there's still a high probability that price can just blow past this to facilitate that pullback of this previous range here. So that's where, again, like you can definitely enter if that is your system, but I just don't like this just because I think we can definitely wait until tomorrow to find something of a higher quality. Meaning, let's say price does continue higher and we do make a new high here. At that point, we know that we can definitely play the pullback if the pullback presents itself and we do see some type of bearish structure. If price does end up creating a nasty top wick and sells off here, okay, we know that price just created the pullback of this hourly internal structure, and we could potentially play it back up higher because ultimately our goal is to take these highs out. The reason I say that is because our structure on the 4 hour is overall bearish. We saw this bearish leg, we saw a pullback, and we can expect price to continue to expand back into these highs. Okay, that's a concept of multi-time frame analysis for you. Your next YouTube video should be tomorrow, Alvin. Should be tomorrow. I was gonna make one today, but I was booking my flights. Loki took forever. Thoughts on gold? Yeah, I got you. I know Mark caught some crazy gold buys earlier. Thoughts on gold? Just based off how I trade, I see that price is definitely trading within this bearish leg here. Looks like we are facilitating some type of pullback. Ultimately, the way price is looking looks like shit. Just a lot of consolidation within here. But from a lower time frame standpoint, we could see some short-term sells. One, just due to the fact that we are now seeing price shift internally bearish, and we could see price come down at least to the midpoint within this bullish range, or it could even come down further to take the liquidity from Tokyo range open. So I honestly would lean more towards a sell bias, but not necessarily long term. I think more of a short-term sell bias, but I'd wait for some more confirmation, like an actual break of this low, not just wicks. And if you do see a break of that low, you do see a pullback and you do see a continuation back lower, you could take some type of breakout of these lows, looking to target a little bit of a lower price. Just waiting for the next hot sauce. Just joined late. What are we looking at? We're looking at DAX UK 100. Nothing really to be excited about, but we're now looking at NQ, seeing if we can get a setup here. Leaving Monday to Philippines. I will be hot. Oh shit. I got Tim. Philippines. Just got stopped on gold from Asia. Hopefully your stops are at break even. Took partial stop losses and profits. That's fire. Of course, ADA. There's so many strategies. Hold on, Henry, I didn't see anything. Beatty. So I say baity. There's so many strategies and a lot of them work, but it's nice to keep it stupid simple. Yeah, honestly, the simpler the better, truly. And I'm not the first person to say that. I'm not. Like, you guys hear that probably everywhere. My biggest recommendation for you guys is to ultimately find someone who aligns with your lifestyle, whose system aligns with your lifestyle, in the sense of, let's say you're only able to trade London or you're only able to trade New York. You don't want to go and trade with someone who's trading Asia. You can go and learn from someone who's trading Asia, but ultimately, if you're going to learn from someone, you'd at least want them to be trading the same time as you, at least just to start. In most cases, most systems, if not, yeah, I say most systems, can be used on multiple markets at multiple different sessions. Like, again, like with my system, I can trade with Forex any time of the day, any session I can. But when you're starting, I'd say stick to one session, learn, figure out, okay, what is this person doing that I'm not doing? Learn from them, apply what they're doing, and then you can ultimately adjust. Like, that's what I did. When I bought my first course way back in the day, I learned a lot from that person. But ultimately, I still went and looked for information that was going to help me within that system, right? I didn't go and learn supply and demand and went to ICT and learned how to trade for value gaps. No, like, I didn't do that because, granted, there was probably a lot I could have learned from ICT in the sense of daily targets and stuff like that, but I wanted to keep it relatively similar. So when I went to like go look for other information, I just look for more information based off supply and demand, or within like how price moves. One guy that really did put me, I forget his name, put me on the understanding of premium discount was this one guy on YouTube, right? And he didn't necessarily trade supply and demand, but he was super simple understanding. And it's really just, it's like this. See if I can find a setup. We'll just use this one, even though the setup hasn't played out. Oh, that's the 1 minute. Let's say, right. Let's find a better setup. Forex has been moving like shit, to be honest with you. So let's say here. So he'll understand that, okay, price was bearish, but we now saw a shift of structure here. He would just mark up a fib, and he would just enter at 71%. Super simple, super systematic. And I don't necessarily do that, but I still have Baldy. We need mods in here. I'm just kidding. And he was just super simple in the sense of understanding that price now shifted structure or changed character back bullish. He waits for a pullback into his desired area, and he simply just sets his stop, sets his TP, and just lets it run. And he trades on the 4 hour. It's more swing trading, but I took that approach and I made it work for lower time frames. And again, an example of that, let me make sure NQ's not playing out. Okay, now we're good. So an example of that is I didn't necessarily enter at 71% like here, but on the lower time frames, and it works on all time frames, I saw that price, obviously with a higher time frame analysis in the sense that price had a higher probability of going higher. I looked to lower time frames to confirm direction in the sense that price did create a new high here. What did we do? We pulled back into a discounted price, or at least into equilibrium. And I simply just entered off that, stops at the low, because again, stop price could have continued lower deep down within here before taking off. And I just looked to target my ultimate TP, which was a 1 at 2. I could have just targeted these highs, but my management plan calls for a little bit more. And we knew we could have taken a little bit more was because our ultimate goal was this high. The reason this high was our ultimate goal as far as our target was because within this bullish structure, this was our last high that was created. We had a pullback, and we could ultimately expect price to continue within that bullish structure, taking out this weak high. Okay, so a lot of it comes from, again, just trial and error, just understanding of how price moves. And I think multi-time frame analysis is where like you really will start to understand price to its fullest extent. Can't click that. Hey, my TP going to sleep. Love that. I trade New York and Asia. Hell yeah, I definitely agree with that. People overcomplicate trading so much. Yeah, exactly. You just got to keep it simple, systematic, easy. Again, like you want to be able to come in every single day and just take the same setup every single day. You don't want to come in and look for a different system every single day. Like, no, it's not how trading works. Henry got it. Yeah, we're changing your name to Baldy. He teaches, but he Popeyes and introduces it to the masses. Been trading since IMO 2016. Oh shit, thankfully I never got into IMO. I know a lot of people who definitely got stuck in IMO. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely one thing I agree with is like ICT definitely popularized it, and did really introduce those concepts to a lot of people. Where like I don't know if you guys know Dodgy, he what's it called? He took ICT's teaching and kind of he didn't create his own system based off it, but I think he himself made IFEGs a little bit more popular. Which I can't say for sure that I don't know. Did ICT teach IFEGs? I think he did. I assume he did. I don't know. I didn't watch anything. IML was trash. Wasn't IML just like a basically like they didn't even really teach you how to fucking trade. They just wanted you to get more people in there. It was like an affiliate game. Network marketing first, signal second. Yeah, that's crazy. Cause it was so big. Like, wasn't IMO like massive as fuck? Dodgy is funny. He is funny. Been there 2 and 21. Damn. Yeah. Thankfully, I don't know if I started after all that. I think I barely missed that wave. But the thing is, like, when I first started trading, I like started trading with my close homie in high school, and like we weren't like I didn't get into a course until like I think after high school, and we just kind of just did our own thing. We really did. Damn, they got investigated by FBI. What the fuck? I did not know that. Got me in trading. I don't mind. Yeah, dude. Honestly, a lot of people that are really successful now were in IML. Um, Not saying everyone, but definitely a majority of people that I know do have a story of them starting with an IML. Oh shit. They're in some deep shit. Well, that sucks. Did we get to close above this high? Oh, we barely did. Still no trade yet, guys. Again, like I'm definitely not going to take a trade here. And it looks like whoever was talking about DAX coming into equilibrium, you definitely could have taken a trade potentially. Could have taken at equilibrium, stops at the lows, and just look to either target those highs for a 101 or a little bit further. Again, we expect price to continue higher overall, but it's just not my bread and butter. Well, this actually is my bread and butter setup in the sense of seeing expansion, pullback, and continuation. But it was just how price looked prior to this is just kind of throwing me away from this system or from this trade in itself. But again, if price does play out continuously, it's ultimately just gonna be data from you guys. And that's one thing I want to talk about, like going back to systems and whoever asked me, like who I learned from and stuff. Well, one, Luca did help me a lot. If you guys know Luca, he did help me a lot. I already knew a lot, but he definitely did help me a lot within trading, like near the end, when it came to growing my accounts and stuff like that. And the business side of things. But one thing I can say that really did help me is data, guys. Data helped me so much. They changed your name like 3 times in that time. Watch this. It'll explain the rise and fall. I'm going to watch that later for sure. Oh my gosh. Thousands of young people's lives is the crazy title. It's on. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's still a thing, Henry? Yeah, Jay. So I think the biggest thing is like the first things first is you want to have general knowledge of how price moves and what to look for and what to expect. But prior, like second to that, like once you actually have a plan, have a system, like your next goal is to ultimately just be looking to get data. Truly. Get data, refine, back test, improve. Again, there's always room for improvement, especially at the beginning. Like you definitely want to be keeping track of, it's not only the technical side of things on how price is moving today, what you can continue to be like, if there's any changes that need to be made, because especially at the beginning, you're going to be making mistakes. There's going to be mistakes, and maybe you had misinformation or you didn't fully understand a concept and you're struggling to get entries, you're losing a lot. You definitely want to get data within that to make sure that you're staying on top of your game and actually learning appropriately and continuously improving. But it's also within like the emotional sides of things, like the psychology side of things, where even once you master technicals and you have your system down, you're executing perfectly, there's still going to be times where a lot of it can come down to your mental. Like you're entering based off the fact that you want to make money. Like one thing I tell all my students when they come and work with me is, for these next couple months, fuck money. Like don't even think about money. Like just cut it out entirely. And I give this advice to you, and this is ultimately what changed my trading, is when I stopped thinking about the money aspect of things. And again, like that could definitely, I guess could be a two-edged sword, because it's like you're in trading to make money. But the reason I say forget about the money aspect is because in following the process, in doing and taking the right steps, the money has to come. Like it quite literally is forced to come. If you're doing everything right, you're going to make money. But if you just think about money and think about making money and how you can make more money, which is a good mindset to have, but if that's all you're on your mind, you're going to enter trades off FOMO. You're going to revenge trade. You're going to take bad trades because all you're thinking about is, I'm going to take this trade because it's a way for me to make money. But that trade may not be good. But all you're thinking is, oh, this could make me money. You could make money. And that's just not a good way of thinking. So when it comes back to data, you don't want to just be getting data off technicals. You don't want to just be journaling that trade. You want to be journaling how you felt during that trade. You know, did you enter because of this emotional reason? Did you enter based off FOMO? Were you revenge trading? Is that why you lost? Were you highly emotional within your trade and you exited early and price continued to move in your direction? Those little things are ultimately going to help you, one, learn to be less emotional, and two, it's going to help you learn yourself and what aspects you need to kind of get better within. Again, like I've been there, I've done that. Like I was an emotional trader. I think everyone at some point when you're new is emotional. You exit early because you're up $200 and you want to just get that $200, but ultimately your system calls for you holding longer, right? And you have to trade what your system calls for. Again, like you can't just exit based off emotion, because in some cases it may be good. It could save you, but in most cases it's probably not going to save you. All right, let me rechat. What's the micros I need to do MGC Gold on Legacy 100? What micros is? Wait, what do you mean? What's the micros I need to do on MGC Gold? Like if you're asking about like how many contracts to risk, that really just depends on your stop. We have a full video on that too. If you go to Legacy Funded Futures, here. I'll find you the video. Don't worry. Oops.
Know how many contracts.
Oh, let me reply to your thing. So many messages between Baldy and Henry. Yeah, they rebounded, but still under investigation. All the big people left. According to May 25th complaint filed, ICC in Nevada Attorney General's Office, IMA Academy has employed instructions with no formal education to scam clients. 1.2 billion. What the fuck? One thing I say about it interested me in the concept of trading. Didn't even know what regular people could do before. Of course. 1.2 billion. I'm just kind of blown away by that number. Same here, as now it's my full-time job. Love that, Henry. 1 micro per tick. Oh, thank you, Henry. I appreciate you answering that. How many contracts am I doing? I'm doing 15 contracts since it's MNQ. So my risk would be about $300 since I'm only using a 10-point stop or 40 ticks. And my TP is about $600. Still no trade yet, guys. I do think we still have opportunity, but if price just kind of continues to chop around within this like consolidation, I'm definitely not going to shoot on anything. But if we do see price expand lower here and we do see a quick little pullback and continuation, I'm probably going to take those sells. We'll give it another 15 minutes. Gold is doing what I said. It's selling off. Yep. It is selling off. Again, guys, it's just, I was assuming that we could see short-term sells just because, again, like we have been bullish for a decent amount now. And again, just because we've been bullish for this long doesn't mean prices has to have a pullback. But you guys have to remember, like, as we continue higher and higher after we break, like an area of like a high, the probabilities just increase that we will see some type of pullback to either facilitate the pullback of this bullish leg or to hunt some type of opposing liquidity, which could be Tokyo lows. I was in their secretary. It was crazy if you don't get new people in there and you just want to trade. So Henry, did they just like push you on like a daily basis to get new people in there or some shit? Like if you didn't get people in there, like you're like they beat you or something? Guys, price is moving fucking horribly. Again, guys, I really can't complain. Like, I'm not here to trade every single day. I'm here to take quality setups. And again, sucks that yesterday we couldn't capitalize here. I really, really wish we could have capitalized here, guys. It's the same situation that we're in, like, right now. Is we saw that bullish structure. We saw price create that internal bearish structure. We had that micro pullback. We just missed equilibrium, and we had price sell off. But again, like even this, like going back to like comparing it to UK 100 and DAX, the fact that we are barely missing these equilibriums and still expanding higher, again, that's just ultimately data that's going to tell me that, like, one, I always know that price isn't necessarily promised to come into equilibrium, but quite literally always, if not 90% of the time, you will see it come back into equilibrium as it facilitates that pullback. And that's where it's just, from a a technical standpoint, from a systematic approach, it's just better waiting for that than just impulsively entering because you see price going in your direction. Again, it's not how you want to trade, because again, price can at any point do that. If price breaks this low, because we did see a break here, barely broke here, did we? Let's zoom this shit in. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Oh my god, did we? Oh no. My cat woke up. Oh my god, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't break structure there. So all that means is once we break this low, then we are now internally bearish. It was in their secretary. It was crazy. 5 calls at 2 a.m. asking if you did your cold calls. No way. So did you like never learn anything about trading within there? Because like that's like everyone's story is like it was really just about like you getting new people in there. But it really makes you question, like, was there anything about trading within there where you could have actually like learned a concept? Because it's crazy to think, like, I wonder what their marketing team was like to bring in 1.2 fucking billion dollars and absolutely be, I was gonna say a word that I probably shouldn't say, and being absolutely stupid when it comes to trading. Like, I can't see that. There had to have been some type of trading resources in there. But at the same time, like, if you have the audience and you just have that cult like following and you're just pushing people to sell accounts, like, I could see why, because wasn't it something like, if you got in, was it like what, $50 a month, $100 a month, and if you brought someone else in, then you pay $0 a month or something like that, or less? I say these field levels and market structure advice you gave. Oh, okay. But I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that Bloomberg video. That shit seems interesting. Super interesting. But guys, still waiting. Again, when it comes to UK 100 and DAX, I'm definitely not going to trade here. We had that win last night. I'm fine with that. We still have the rest of the week too. It's only Wednesday, guys. We got 2 more trading days left. NQ's been a little bit slow, but again, like, we can't expect. I mean, yesterday it was there. It moved nice, but just that one issue that we had. But I still think we have a little bit of time to see price most likely break structure here, and we could play a pullback in continuation. We'll to see though. But if price just kind of stays within this range for like I'd say the next 10 to 20 minutes and we don't break out and we're just kind of chopping around, I'm definitely just not going to trade it and just call it a day there. Because at that point it's just not worth it. It's we are going to expand at some point, but I'm not going to sit here till 2. I fixed my sleep schedule and I want to stay on top of it. Is there news tomorrow or something? Ugh. It's not that bad. FOMC. Governor Bremen speaks. Oh, that's NTD. Fuck. $200 a month, and if you have 2 people in there, you can get the 2 and free. So you pay no fees, or if you get 3 people, you get $150 a month, but still pay the $200 a month, but get certain benefits. Wait, what? I'm looking for sells, but I need to see a break of this low, and then we'll wait for a pullback and continuation. But what I was saying, if price just like continues to just move this ridiculously slow within the next 10 to 20 minutes, I'm not going to take anything. It's just not really worth it. Oh, no. No, you stay over there. My cat's awake and she's a bitch. An evil little bitch. Hold on, guys. I'm going to kick her the fuck out before she goes crazy. Yeah, I'm back. Don't worry. Hey, Nick, if I'm outside the US, can I buy the funded account? Of course you can. It just depends on where you're at, to be honest with you. But I believe you should be able to. I'll send you the link. There's a link, and you can use my code Nick, and you get a 15% discount. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, my camera's not on. Boom, there. We back. I lost general chat. Why do I keep doing this? Okay, there. All of the actual teachers took their following from IM and have their own communities now. Oh, shit. What are some of the big names that you know of that were in IML and are now like running out their own communities, like teachers wise? Guys, price is moving like shit. I'm gonna give it 6 minutes. If we don't expand lower and we just continue within this range of these very small choppy candles, it's not worth it. But like, I mean, you guys can definitely wait around. Again, I'm not getting off just yet, but let's say price does just continue to kind of chop. You guys can definitely wait for that expansion lower and that pullback and continuation, because ultimately, like, I'm expecting price to facilitate this pullback, especially seeing how price is reacting here. Like, just based off these candle patterns, and I don't necessarily trade candle patterns, but I can identify just based off how these candles have been reacting. Very slow, very choppy, a lot of top wicks. It just gives me the idea that price is not looking to expand higher, at least right now. And that's where I am getting, well, I ultimately had a sell bias just due to the fact that we did expand higher, and we know that we will see a pullback before that expansion continues within that trend. But just seeing how price is reacting on the 5-minute too just adds to that confluence, or adds to the confirmation that price will most likely expand lower. But with this chop here, it may not be worth getting in. No big ones to my knowledge, but I have been in the German IM bubble with German teachers. So that shit was worldwide. Is that what you're saying? That motherfuckers was targeting every continent. So Henry, be real. How many people did you have under you? What the fuck? Or were you just like there to like fucking really learn trading? You didn't really like get anyone else in there? This is expanding, guys. Again, I'll go over DAX again and UK 100. Looks like we did end up coming down within the discounted price of this newly bullish leg, possibly to continue higher. I'm going to come back and we'll go over it again tomorrow, because I truly, like, yes, price can just absolutely fucking continue to rip into New York, especially with New York volume. But I do think that price at some point will kind of stall out and have some type of significant sell-off. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily have to happen. Same thing with UK 100 is we are just continuously expanding, but that's fine, because now if price just continues to expand and we kind of stutter out through New York and Asia, we can play that pullback tomorrow, right? Especially if we do see some type of bearish internal structure that starts to form, where we can definitely have more confidence in the sense that price is ready for a pullback. But since price just absolutely fucking ripped here, and again, didn't have an entry today, obviously, I could say that I did overall expect price to go bullish, but I was a little bit more bearish just due to the probability side of things. And again, even with the bullish setup, like, there was really nothing for me to execute off of. Because again, like, same thing as DAX, like, even within this bullish leg, we never had a full pullback, meaning that this bullish expansion here may have just been a momentary pullback of this bearish internal structure to the lower. And that's where, again, like, if we would have taken these buys, obviously in this case we would have won, right? That's clear as day. We would have won on these buys. But let's say we took these buys, totally breaking my plan, and it sold off. I would have been more mad at the fact that I broke my plan and lost than, I would have been more mad breaking my plan and winning. No, my God, I don't know how to say this. I'm fucking up my words. You guys know what I'm saying. I'd have been more mad that I broke my plan than catching this win, because again, this could just been one time. This may not happen again tomorrow or at all in the future. Yes, it definitely could happen again. But again, when these situations happen where price expands or goes in a direction you may have not expected it to go, or maybe not have been a high of a probability, again, just get data off of this, guys. This is just key data. I'm not saying go and change your fucking system, but again, just get data off of it, because again, you could use that to potentially look to change something later on. 3 of my closest friends, because I got pushed into marking so hard. Damn, bro. All right, guys, but it looks like price is possibly going to continue to expand on NQ, but at the same time, it's not really giving us a lot of volume anymore. We are an hour into session. Typically, we still see some good volume at this time, but we are kind of starting to stutter out. They're way better at emotional psychology than trading. Damn. They read a couple Stell's book, Henry. But I'm going to come back tomorrow. We're going to go over DAX. We're going to go over UK 100. We're going to go over NASDAQ. And we're going to see what ultimately happened. We're going to see if price did end up playing out within that pullback and continuation. And we're going to go over the fact that, okay, if our setup came at a later time, maybe I can stream later. Again, there's some situations where I may be off stream and still take a trade. Probably not. I'm probably just going to go straight to fucking sleep. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys joining. Not a bad day. I know there was no trades whatsoever, but if you guys were here yesterday, again, I hope you guys did catch this UK 100 buy with me. Beautiful setup, beautiful play. So again, like, I'm not tripping on no trades. Even if we didn't catch this one yesterday, I'd still be fine with no trades days, because again, it's quality over quantity, guys. Like, I don't like just coming in here and just taking a trade, take a trade. That's not what trading is about. I don't want to teach you guys bad habits, because again, like, if you guys want to be successful, which I want for each and every one of you, I want you guys to understand that there's going to be no trade days. You should always look for quality over quantity, right? Because again, like, coming from me, coming from someone who has experience, that's key. Understanding when you have to sit on your hands and just play next day. So that being said, guys, I'll be back same time tomorrow, 11:45 p.m. PST. I hope you guys all join up. We'll talk a little bit more. I'll spit some more game. That being said, if you guys do want to, again, catch these trades with me on UK 100 and DAX, since we do not offer that on Legacy, you can always DM me on Discord or on Instagram at Niicksfx, and I will shoot you over the broker that I used if you guys are interested in that, just so you can actually catch these trades with me, because we've been killing it this month when it comes to this. I mean, we've been absolutely fucking killing it. I delete all my other trades, but we have been running it up so far. That being said, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:45 p.m. PST. Later, YouTube. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys. Again, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's Niicksfx. You guys probably already have me on there. If not, that's fine. I won't be sad. But Niicksfx on Instagram, I post all the time, giving you guys updates, even free accounts sometimes. So I'm out of here. You guys are awesome.